They told me joining the Roman army would make a man out of me. What they didn't mention is that it might also break your mind before breakfast. See, no one really talks about that part of camp life, the endless hours, the aching boredom, the energy you don't know what to do with. Not every battle is fought with a sword. Some are fought in your own head, late at night, when the fire's low, and your thoughts start pacing like caged animals. And that's when the real stories begin. So, before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. And drop a comment telling me, what kind of stories do you want to hear next? I'm listening. Now, dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum, and let's ease into tonight's journey together. You are me, and I am you. Together, we'll walk through the long days and restless nights of a young Roman soldier, how we dealt with the overwhelming energy that came with youth and duty. Let me tell you, it wasn't always easy, but sometimes, it was downright entertaining. The camp was a world of its own. Imagine a stretch of dusty ground surrounded by hastily built wooden walls and tents pitched like scattered seashells. The sun beats down hard during the day, turning the earth into a cracked oven. By night, the chill sneaks in, and the soldiers gather around flickering fires that try to hold back the darkness. The days were filled with drills, marching practice, and weapons training, grueling enough to make you question why you signed up in the first place. But between the exercises, between the orders barked by commanders, there was a kind of restless energy, a buzz you could feel in the air. That energy didn't just vanish with the setting sun. No, it multiplied. We were young, fierce, full of life, eager to prove ourselves. The body's urge to move, to compete, to laugh, and to connect was constant. Sometimes, it felt like that energy was a second job, one that required all your creativity to manage. So how did we expend it? Not always with swords or shields. No, sometimes it was the quiet games we played under the moonlight, the jokes whispered in the dark, or the glances exchanged with the young women who lived just beyond our camp's fence. They were the local villagers, curious, lively, and with smiles that could melt even the hardest soldier's resolve. We were a tight-knit bunch. Friendship was our anchor in a world that was often harsh and unforgiving. When the days dragged on, and the routine threatened to crush our spirits, it was the camaraderie, the shared stories, and the little moments of levity that kept us sane. You can almost see it, right? The way the campfire's glow reflects on tired faces, the rough laughter bouncing between tents, the clumsy attempts at dancing during rare celebrations. It was all part of how we managed the fire inside us. Now, the academic types will tell you different things about Roman soldiers. Some say discipline was absolute, others argue that the human side of the legionnaires was often overlooked. To this day, historians debate how much freedom soldiers really had to enjoy themselves away from battle lines. But between you and me, those long, restless nights were when the true spirit of the Legion was forged, not just in drills or wars, but in the way we lived, breathed, and found small pockets of joy amidst uncertainty. So, are you ready to step into my boots and feel what it was like to be young, restless, and full of life in the heart of the Roman camp? Good. Because this story is just beginning. The sun was just peeking over the horizon when I rolled out of my tent, muscles stiff from yesterday's drills but my mind already racing ahead. You and I, we share the same pulse, the same eagerness to face what's next, even if the day ahead promises more hard work and endless marching. Morning at the camp was a mix of sharp commands and quiet preparation. The air smelled of damp earth, mixed with the faint tang of iron from weapons stacked neatly beside tents. Some of the older soldiers moved with a practiced ease, while the young ones, like me, fumbled to get their gear in order, all jittery energy waiting to explode. I often wondered how we all survived that first day. Honestly, many didn't. The discipline, the physical demands, the constant pressure, it was like being thrown into a storm with nothing but a thin cloak. But for those of us who stuck around, the camp became home. We found ways to survive the mind-numbing routine, to turn boredom into games, and to turn restless energy into stories. During breaks, we'd toss around small challenges, foot races, arm wrestling, or seeing who could do the most push-ups before collapsing in laughter. Sometimes it was a contest to sneak the best fruits or treats from the nearby village market without getting caught. These moments were precious, tiny pockets of rebellion and joy in an otherwise rigid world. But there was more than just competition. There were friendships forged in sweat and dust, trust built in shared watches during the night, and silent understandings passed with a nod or a glance. And then, there was the soft thread of romance, fleeting and dangerous, but intoxicating. The local women, often the daughters or wives of villagers, were a constant part of our world. Some were shy, watching from a distance, while others were bold, laughing and teasing as they moved through the camp. There was a kind of unspoken game, a dance of glances and whispers that kept the monotony at bay. I remember one evening, the sky painted in shades of purple and gold, when I caught the eye of a girl named Livia. Her smile was a mix of mischief and warmth. We talked quietly by the edge of the camp, careful to keep our voices low. Those moments felt like stolen treasures, escapes from the grind of soldier life. Of course, not every story was so romantic or gentle. Sometimes the night brought unexpected challenges, arguments among comrades, pranks that went too far, or the restless frustration of waiting for a battle that might never come. But even then, the energy that pulsed through us found its outlet. That energy was the heartbeat of the camp, driving us forward when all else seemed bleak. It was the fire that kept us alive in body and spirit. Now, you might think all this sounds like the stuff of legend, but the truth is often stranger, and far more human, than fiction. And while the historians still argue over details and interpretations, the essence remains the same. Behind every soldier was a young person wrestling with the same forces you and I know well. So, lean back, let your thoughts wander with mine, and together we'll explore the hidden rhythms of life inside the Roman legion. The days stretched long and often blurred together, but each carried its own small dramas and quiet victories. Sometimes, I'd find myself staring out beyond the camp's wooden walls, watching the village life that pulsed just outside. You and I, we both know that youthful energy doesn't always find a healthy outlet in rigid routines. That's why those moments with the villagers were so vital. Whether it was a quick exchange of smiles with a baker's daughter or a playful challenge with a local boy, these interactions brought color to our otherwise drab existence. One strange but true thing was how soldiers became unofficial matchmakers. We'd swap stories about who caught whose eye, who'd made the boldest move, or who was hopelessly smitten. These tales spread like wildfire, offering both amusement and a welcome distraction. At times, the camp's strict rules about fraternizing with locals were conveniently overlooked, or at least bent a little. After all, a soldier's life was unpredictable, and a little softness was necessary to keep the heart from hardening completely. Friendships, too, were complex and layered. We shared everything, from weapons and rations to stories and secrets. Some bonds were forged instantly, others took time to build, but all were essential in keeping the spirit alive. You might be surprised to learn that despite the tough exterior, many of us had a penchant for humor, dry jokes, witty banter, and the occasional playful insult. It was our way of coping, a release valve for the pressure cooker that was camp life. And then there were the legends, wild tales told late at night about past glories, heroic feats, or mysterious happenings in the dark woods beyond the camp. Whether true or not, these stories wove a fabric of shared identity and pride. The academic world debates how much freedom soldiers actually had to enjoy these small pleasures. Some argue the discipline was too strict, others believe such moments were common and necessary. Whatever the truth, we lived those moments fully. So imagine me, sitting by the fire, sharing these stories with you, the flickering flames casting shadows on our faces. This is not just history, it's life lived fully, awkwardly, and sometimes hilariously. And as the night deepens, remember, you and I are one in this story, walking side by side through the dust and dreams of the Roman camp. The weight of the armor, the clang of swords during training, the endless commands, it all could be overwhelming. But nothing drained energy faster than the waiting. Waiting for orders, waiting for battle, waiting for the moments that made the hardship worthwhile. You know that feeling, restlessness wrapped in anticipation, that buzzing in your veins that makes you pace or fidget. We had that in spades. To deal with it, we developed our own rituals. Some soldiers practiced silent meditation, trying to calm the storm inside. Others found solace in music, flutes and drums echoing through the camp, their rhythms soothing the nerves. And then, there were the more creative outlets. Impromptu storytelling contests, shadow puppets cast by firelight, or mock duels that ended in laughter instead of blood. These moments weren't just pastimes, they were survival tools. They kept us connected, grounded, and sane. One of my favorite memories is of a night when the camp was unusually quiet. The stars blanketed the sky, and a gentle breeze rustled the tents. A few of us gathered around a small fire, trading exaggerated tales of our imagined heroic deeds. The stories grew taller with each telling, giant beasts defeated with a single punch, impossible marches through deserts, secret romances with princesses. Of course, most of it was nonsense, but the laughter was real, and that made all the difference. You see, the human spirit has a remarkable way of transforming boredom and frustration into moments of joy, even in the harshest conditions. As scholars debate how soldiers maintained morale, I can tell you this: the bonds we formed, the stories we shared, and the energy we found to laugh in the face of hardship were just as important as any weapon in our arsenal. And now, with that in mind, let's continue walking through the days and nights, discovering how we lived, loved, and simply survived. Now, as the night deepens and the campfire's glow softens to a gentle ember, maybe you don't even remember where our story last left off, and that's perfectly fine. Let your thoughts drift slowly, like a quiet breeze weaving through the tents, carrying the warmth of the day fading into peaceful stillness. Feel your breath grow soft, your heartbeat slowing, as if the very air around you is whispering a gentle hush. Everything begins to melt away: time, worries, the sharp edges of the world, until all that's left is this calm, this quiet, this slow, soothing breath. So rest now, and float gently into whatever dreams await you beyond this night. Wherever your dreams take you tonight, may they be gentle,